This is why I ditched him.
Yeah.
You and me, baby.
No loyalty.
Oh, sorry, I already found one. Sorry,
What the fuck?
Yeah, look at that. He put 2 charges on him, then he gets the deny in the range creep because
he doesn't want
it's void. What are you gonna do? You gonna tank the range creep CS in exchange for getting silenced and taking a bunch of damage?
Oh, and there's gonna be TPs, a lot of low heroes, and yeah, he's just gonna go run under the tower. He really was Spartan is he's playing the long con. He's like, come chase me again for the 5th time. And then it's kind of suicide. It feels like, can't they like kill his Abba? Don't you just put Inkswell and hit him? We're gonna see if that's true.
He just has 10 stick charges.
He does. He pops them and they get away. Don't want to get TP'd on.
They got the range creep though. Secured.
It's a big deal. For now, slowed down a little bit. 4-3 ADFINEM lead.
Looks like mid's pretty chill as well. 35 to 28.
Odie doing a little bit better.
Yeah, as expected.
Yeah.
Should be a slightly better game plan for Thug.
3 nulls too.
The casual bracer pickup for the Death Prophet. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really tired of the bracer magic resistance stat.
What?
The casual 5% from an item that's already really good stat-wise.
Almost certainly a kill, right?
That should be. Whoa, Frost Armor gonna be on a creep.
Nice
Try to
Frost
slow him
Armor,
down.
Spartan.
Yeah. He might be. If he gets the nuke, this should be a kill.
Oh, he's gonna get purified.
He's gonna die down too.
Little aggressive. ADFINEM's aggression.
He should get the kill.
He should. Oh, well, yeah, I was talking about the other. That's why I said he.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
the royal form, obviously.
royal form.
Yeah.
The royal.
In the royal form of he.
Yeah, they're just Greek. They're not royal.
Yeah. Oh, heal up. So they have rotated. And that's not level 6 Abba yet, so he needs to be real careful. This very well could just be another kill. Poshka bottom gets the pull.
This feels like a pretty boring game for this Grimstroke. He's just been standing in the same like 600 units right next to his faceless void. But if that's what it takes to secure the game, sure.
They really do look like boars.
Yeah, we're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He will get level 6. Will they dive him before level 6? Oh, here we go. Lycan is going to pop ulti.
Dude, this is quite the bait.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But he's not getting much healed. He will get silent. They might try to chase him down. DM getting run at there. Gaze on top of him. They're going to put him under. It's a full 4-man rotation from ADFINEM. They should be able to bring down the Omni. They blow him up in Skyrim. Do they have anything? Oh, he missed the power stomp. Oh, Madara feels bad.
Instant tip.
Will be a 1-for-0 trade. You did rotate a lot up here, but you kill that Omni who's been pretty cocky up here. He's been allowed to dive the tower multiple times.
And space for Void in all this madness.
They really wanted to protect that tower.
Yes.
Right, because they rotated the Abaddon up there, sacrificing his matchup against Void.
Yeah.
Because the Lycan just wants to do jungle things right now. He wants to do that thing where he's jungling, and then he sees an opportunity to pop his ultimate,
Get a kill.
go run somebody down.
And the longer you keep that tower, it's like open space for supports while Lycan jungles.
Yeah.
Super nice. Or in this case,
So now Rubik gets to play bottom,
Yeah.
get some solo experience. Pause time.
Quick one here.
Is that like a StarCraft thing? Is that where that originated? Where you have to say P, like
here's what
all
happened.
chat
I think
before
it's
pausing?
just an English
People are
language
lazy.
thing.
In Brood War,
Yeah, it was a
like,
rule, right?
You would have to say PP, so like pause please or whatever. I think it was PP, and then I think somebody in Brood War, like they accidentally typed one too many and they got DQ'd.
Yeah.
So now just one. That's insane.
I remember one time we almost got DQ'd in Korea in Zephyr for that. It was like
'Cause you paused without saying?
Yeah, Bambo. Okay, so somebody on their team, I can't remember. He was being like mannered.
Yeah.
So somebody on their team DC'd, and
Oh, I remember you. talking
Bambo
about
paused
this, yeah.
for him, and then we almost got we got yelled at for that.
And you learned that day being nice never pays off.
Never do that.
Barry's ready to initiate this Lich. He's going to try to get some help in this group. The Fate Bolt, he's going to take a little bit of damage. A lot of damage reduction from Frost Shield plus the Fate Bolt, but still not
They
enough.
are feeding way too much on these supports right now.
Spartan, I mean, he's been known. He likes to just run at people, no matter what.
That's true.
I need him to do that like 10% more control.
No. No. Do have
This guy's gonna get really fat. Like these like kills don't really benefit the cores as much as they do for these supports.
Yeah.
Like the Skyrath getting all this XP, getting all these kills, then his mid laner like just gets to like farm up the jungle. Like look how farmed he is. He's got 2 nulls and a crown already.
Kills are so worthless though. Like, I mean, XP wise, I guess, right? He's 2-1 and 3, and he's the same as like a support that just sits in lane the whole time.
Yeah. It's just nicer as items though.
Yeah, for sure. And he doesn't need a whole lot as this hero.
He's gonna hit 6. The biggest thing is like he just needs levels for the kill combo.
And he wants level 10 too for the XP talent.
Treads DP.
They've got a ward to see this. It's kind of a cool ward right there.
Yeah.
That is able to see rotation through the river area, and then
Instantly gets rewarded.
Instantly gets rewarded. Hey, he's
Too good of a ward.
Yeah.
Too good of a ward. And now they are trying to bring down this tower still. But Skylar, he's up here and he's trying to Quelling Blade his way out.
Burrow.
Oh, they are going to find him actually, but he's got some backup now from this Rubik, so they might need to be a little bit careful to do that. It's going to be a range charge. There's going to chain from it. Bouncing Guardian Angel goes down. Maposhka's dead and they might be down a little far. No, here comes the Chrono, does hit on all of them, and they're going to get the ghosts out too. This is good for ADFINEM right now. OD's still here. Will he pop anything? They want to get him. He's pretty low. He is. Oh, he doesn't have any mana. The DP just runs away, but they still end up getting him sparred here.
Void here.
Can they?
be massive, but
Oh, he has a friend uphill.
He does have a friend uphill.
Level
but
6.
Skylark. And it looks like he'll be okay. He has another jump in 3. And he'll just try to get downhill. He'll make it. All right. You see, already moving. Oh,
Dang.
what?
Excuse me, sir?
A long dive. Didn't Pochka just die top? That's a rough one for him. Look at
Doesn't have
Slayer.
to
He's like
for
hanging
2
out.
seconds.
He
Now
knows
he's
like
gonna
his
do
ult on the top. Yep. There you go. Hits the vision, but didn't matter. Oh, that is a lot of gold.
Dude, that's money right there.
Oh,
Nice, good job.
Good play.
Yeah.
With the
he got a
end of
terrible
mana,
tornado
too,
creep,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, he didn't give away 200 gold.
Yeah.
At least you get some armor. A little bit. Is it 2 or 3? It's 3, right?
It's 200
aura.
It's 200 gold.
No, I mean
yeah.
the armor aura from the Wild Wing Ripper.
Oh,
Is it
okay.
2 or 3?
I think it's 3.
I think it's 3. Makes sense.
Oh, I guess we just looked. I don't know why we're like, thanks. Thanks,
3?
Pop-Tart.
I think it's 3.
3. I believe it is, yeah.
Guys, I think it's no. Just,
Thanks, Lax. Now the Void is getting a little bit of farm. That fight was a very strange one. A lot of deaths. It was pretty much like a 2 for 3 and then that pick off bottom.
That Chain Frost hit the Omni, I think, 4 times.
Yeah. It shredded
I didn't
it.
know that was possible this early.
they need to be winning those engagements hard though. On the side of Hellraisers,
Yeah.
like things went pretty well for them though. They got the DPO 2-man chrono. Like they took away the vision from ADFINEM. Like I thought that fight was gonna go a lot better.
Oh,
I think they had to put more pressure on the OD in the fight.
And the Sky wasn't 6 yet, right?
Yeah.
Didn't get the ulti off.
Was he really not 6 yet? Even
I'm not
with
sure
the
if he
tome?
was 6 or if he hadn't used the tome. But by the time when they were
Yeah,
circling
yeah.
back, he
He
was
was still-
6. But either way, he didn't get the
You're ready to get it
ulti
off,
off.
yeah. Most of your damage, that's why you picked the hero.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a fast run of Atos though.
Yeah.
It's gonna be scary though once they get Vlads and they just start working down towers.
Yeah.
HR are gonna have to play only 5-man for a bit of time.
You can play, I think I would get Pipe here in this game because
Yeah.
it's like so important to survive through that burst.
Yeah, I think so too. If you get to survive through the burst, you're gonna win the fight hard.
Yeah. And like Pipe has to like, sometimes the problem with Chronosphere is that a Fighting Shield is a really low cast range. But like at least you can always be close enough to get Pipe off on him.
I like this TP by Omni. He's the only person that can safely
Do that.
just sit down here.
We do have the book 1 is already up now. We just saw picked up by the Lycan. So your towers, as you said, if Omni just doesn't TP there, you're losing tower. And he's going to continuously just push lanes on that Lycan.
These D wards, though.
Dude, he's getting worked.
Yeah.
Spartan's getting worked.
Well, you're still gonna lose the tower.
Oh, yeah.
Where did Omni go? He wanted to go with the team. He's like, all right, we're fighting.
I don't think he could do it just like truly solo without more TPs, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, but if you TP like one hero down there, I don't think he dies. Like he has ulti too.
They don't really have any catch in their 2 supports that TP, though. Like, if a TP is shown, don't they just run away?
Yeah, but I'm okay with that too. The Omni
the
just sits
tower.
there and saves the tower. But I think
Because the only way they can pressure him is using like an ult.
yeah, but they can't actually fight without 5-manning. I think is the problem with their lineup. And they have a DD rune, so they want to take this game.
Well, we're about to have a fight. Who's going to be going in first? Looks like we're just slow on Madar, but doesn't matter. He's moving pretty damn quick. Nice stomp, but instantly taken off right there. You can't dive a DP with an Omni right there. Yeah, they're going to link two together. A Pochka goes down. They are chained, though. They're in a little bit of trouble here. Chain Frost still bending. There's going to be a heal from the Rubik. He will get the same as well. Yeah, the Lich. Lich is probably going to die here. He will go down. It's a 1 for 1.
I mean, they didn't take the mid tower.
I forgot
The
Lich.
double damage runes.
And Lich bought back, so he's dead for 50 seconds at 15 minutes in.
Ooh, oh, they're gonna take. Yeah,
This is a good turnaround from Hellraisers.
real good for each.
Didn't even use the chrono. We talked about splitting up the...
Five seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team back.
Watch for second round. One last ride. You'll have to see it.
Radiant team back.
Yeah, it's a cool storyline for sure. And Geek Fam have their fair share of storylines here. SEA is always constantly like swapping around. Everybody's played with everybody, and I think the big thing for me is that they seem to be they're competing at the moment to cement themselves in that like number 3 spot. I'm not sure if they're quite at the level of Fnatic TNC necessarily, but so the way that things worked out for them in the qualifiers were actually kind of interesting. They could have made it into the playoffs for the major qualifier if they had just won one more game.
Yeah, there again. Like everybody ADFINEM facing off against Geek Fam. Game number 1 of our second series here in the first minor of the new DPC season. And holy hell, ADFINEM, they're back. How you doing, Base Skip?
Yeah, what year is it? Is it 2016? Where are we?
I think it's actually kind of cool that they're all back together again. Like everybody goes out, they go their own way, they learn some new things, then they come back to the old squad for a second round. One last ride. Cool that they're all back together again.
Yeah, it's a cool storyline for sure. And Geek Fam have their fair share of storylines here. SEA is always constantly like swapping around. Everybody's played with everybody. And I think the big thing for me is that they seem to be they're competing at the moment to cement themselves in that like number 3 spot. I'm not sure if they're quite at the level of Fnatic TNC necessarily, but so the way that things worked out for them in the qualifiers were actually kind of interesting. They could have made it into the playoffs for the major qualifier if they had just won one more game against Signal, who they then later beat in the minor qualifier fairly convincingly to make it here. And then the other thing is Geek Fam, they won the Hamburg qualifier, but then weren't able to attend because of visa issues. So I think people are expecting fairly big things from them. They got some pretty big names forming the core of the roster.
The other thing that's really important to remember about with that too is that the one series that it was that they
5
lost. It was
seconds remaining.
1v1 against, or is it a best of 2 against Signal? I think a lot of people were feeling like if that game had gone to a game number 3, you know, GeekFam might have been able to eke it out. They'd run like a sort of funky draft, and all of the games were going super late anyway. So it was super duper close, but like you said, just barely able to push them out of it. And the other question that I would have is, you know, does this even look different if GeekFam are in the same lineup as Adroit? Like, to me, I think that still the 3 strongest teams in Southeast Asia are TNC, GeekFam, and Fnatic. I'm not sure that Adroit would have made it through if GeekFam was in the same group with them. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the seeding and whatnot is definitely it's super important for these events where we have either smaller groups or GSL groups. They were just talking about it over on the mainstream, actually, about how, especially with this format, with the GSL group, you know, like 50-50, 2 advance, 2 out, that it's so important, these early matches, especially.
Well, and it gives even more credence to the fact that, you know, Pain going down there, that one really hurt them. They're gonna have to struggle a ways to catch back up to it. Hopefully it all works out. Somebody's got to lose, so we'll see. It was very convincing, I'll say that, the last series. If anybody missed that last series, like they got dumped on.
Yeah, it's
10 seconds remaining.
It does. I feel like, having looked at that, it does seem like it's probably going to be IG taking that group, more than likely.
I will mention too that Nahaz got back to me that Emo's 12 kills and 11,000 net worth at 16 minutes on Invoker was the number 1 and number 2 recorded ever for Invokers professional Dota.
Yeah, at that particular
point in the game.
Timestamp. Dang, that was a hell of a performance. Very, very impressive.
Go check it out.
Yeah, definitely. It won't take you long. You don't even need to watch it. You know, you can skip the drafts. The draft's kind of interesting, but what you really want to get in there is you just want to watch that Invoker performance. Okay, so what do we have draft-wise here? Kunkka's still getting banned. I'm still not sure. I think Kunkka is currently in that spot of, like, people really don't like playing against him, but I think he's been nerfed to the point where the hero is maybe a little bit of a bait. But I think we're still going to see him banned out. And then Shadow Demon making a little bit of a reappearance. You know, he was very popular, #1, position 5 for a while there, then sort of fell off, got some nerfs, and seems to be coming back. I think that's sort of the overall trend here as we start to see some other things getting tweaked towards the very end of the patch. Is some things that were strong earlier, even with a little nerf, are still strong, still playable, fit the overall theme of this meta quite well.
5 seconds remaining.
I should also mention real quickly that Skylark has in his little tag Gabby #1 Bobo, which I find hilarious. Again, for anybody that missed it, TNC Gabby. So giving a little shout out to their rivals in the region. One of the teams that helped to knock them into this instead of being in the main major. So a little bit of, you know, a little something getting thrown out there.
Yeah. I was looking at like pub profiles earlier. Cuckoo, I think, is Coup Control at the moment as his like Steam name, which I thought that was great. So many offlaners looking up to Mind Control. With good reason. That man's a beast on offlane. But okay, so what do we got? We got Lifestealer being banned out. We got Bloodseeker being banned out. The bans from GeekFam are actually pretty interesting. Like this first phase, Legion Commander, super prioritizing getting rid of the Undying. They haven't played any officials in like a month or so. I think the last thing that they played was actually the qualifiers for this. So the meta has moved a little bit since then. They're still playing the Keeper of the Light. We've seen this hero do some pretty crazy stuff. He's got some really nice synergies with some of these low cooldown cores. Even like the Night Stalker, I think, is pretty good. in this situation.
Yeah.
But I wonder where the draft's going to go from here. The Ember is a slightly interesting. Ember is another one of those heroes that synergizes super nicely with the Coddle.
I think it's sort of also just set up like individual player connect. The Royoya is a
Yeah, that's
that
true.
makes a lot of
But like Void's not banned.
That's true.
But both teams picked position 5s that are really good against Void. Like Keeper of the Light is super annoying for Void to play against because of the blind, because of the ulti, because of the mono league, and Shadow Demon. You've got to save, right? And that can.
Coddle is just so annoying to play. I think this hero is so strong. They need to do something. Honestly, like that spell, I don't know if you just like a couple less hits to take it down or something, but it has the same like fight impact as like a phoenix egg. But I don't know if it's just that like whenever I play with people they never hit it or what, but it's just it's terrible.
The blind is super good though. I think that's part of it, right? It's the synergy between the two abilities, like both the Ignis Fatuus and then the blind kind of protecting it. You know, like if Phoenix Egg could also protect itself automatically and much easier than like having to land spirits, right? That's the and it's not like if you kill the Ignis Fatuus you kill Coddle or anything, right? You're just it's much lower risk. It's nice to see Coddle playable, and I like that they've got him in a place where he feels like an interesting support. I like his design, and I like that people are even shying away from like pumping Illuminate. You know, you don't really feel like you have to max that ability anymore. But yeah, that does feel like maybe he's a tiny bit overtuned. We'll see. A lot of it's going to depend on the meta. I'm sure Outlanders is going to change everything. It's probably it's going to be wild. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to be on holiday like shortly after it drops. I'm going to be away for like 3 weeks. I'll have to watch everybody playing. Man, another one of these like just stick it in there OD picks.
Whoa.
It's interesting. It feels super similar to what we just saw in the previous series, right? That game 1, just like it's just like, oh yeah, okay, we think OD is strong, let's just pick it. It's got maybe a little bit more synergy here with the Mirana, you know, going for imprisonment arrows on the mid lane, but this doesn't look like an easy OD game.
No,
like playing against Coddle doesn't sound fun. Yeah, so I don't know. I wonder what prompts them to pick that like
they're
this.
probably taking it more for like, I mean, I guess you can't even really say mid matchup.
Yeah, they have no idea what the matchup. They don't even know what they don't even know what safe lane matchup is.
It is very much considering a favorite.
That's true.
Putting it on play.
Off of the bag, kid. Good job.
All right, Arrow for the scout.
My weak and puny allies where I
Dara already talking a little bit of mess. See it.
Oh.
This ward dropped down. Is that block? No, he cut the tree. Cool.
Yeah, he tangoed, and so he can plant it. That's extremely unlikely to be de-warded. So I think worth the cost. Though I guess if you came up here, so this is one of these wards that you can only use for a little while. Like eventually the enemy team will, you know, teams that you're playing against will kind of catch on. But then I think then the next level mind game is to come here and tango the tree, but don't plant the ward. And put it somewhere else. So somebody comes up and they're like, oh, I see the tangled tree.
Uh-oh. I got him. Oh, did they get him though? Did they? Trying to get the body blocks in. Oh, the illusion's taking another round. He eats the tree through. And does have the stun, but Madara did not want to dive for it. Cootie gonna solve up, and apparently he's fine now.
70% mischance. Good stuff. Very good stuff.
Remember when we saw this in the opening of like the Southeast Asian qualifiers? We saw all these Coddles taking blinding kill level, and we're like, what are they doing? And now it's like what everybody does.
Yeah, it's just standard now.
Arrow? Connects again. They got their man, but guess what? Got a defensive support here. stunned. They'll trade in hits. Can they kill him off in time? Maybe next time. Has another arrow in 6 seconds. But Cuckoo's just gonna walk it off. Looks like he's gonna come over and maybe pull a creep wave, or just try and he's gotta get out.
ADFINEM, we really gotta get this bottom lane under control. Midar's denying pretty hard just to make sure. Ooh, arrow just lands out of nowhere. Maybe next time finds it.
What a guy.
It was, yeah, I mean, it was totally random. Cuckoo was still just sort of hanging around. MNT was keeping an eye on him. What are they looking for?
I guess just some more harass. That was really weird. Spartan now is very low on everything. It does have a salvage clarity at least, but maybe next time take a couple tower shots to pass by. Still not
took like
much
3 or 4 tower shots for almost no reason there. It felt like.
Yeah, you know. Things happen. I don't know what that's about.
It's fine. He's got bottle.
Fix that up. Farm out. You see, he's doing it on his side of the map. Some of those other games are farming on the opponent's side of the map with the arrows.
Yeah. Yeah, this time he didn't stack it, so it's gonna be farmed for someone.
Oh no! In the regen rune.
Regeneration.
Roya gets it. Okay, Thug is not good.
It's like, all right, time for me to buy another salve, boys.
Bit of a tough one here. 12 and 3, 5 and 3. Roya is really giving him the business. Well, Thug does get that range creep deny there. On the positive side, Skylark is getting some decent levels up to level 3 on the Sand King. The wave pushing in towards him. And of course, we've got Madara Wraith King, who's the big beneficiary of all of this in terms of his last hit in. Still
Oh, this ward is so nice for this specific like matchup setup as well. Oh, but he gets caught anyway.
Okay.
Is he dead?
Light strike array afterward. Again, takes an arrow shot. No, he's fine.
Okay. All right, not a big deal. But the ward scouted. He knew that maybe next time was. This is nice for ADFINEM, getting some kills in the early game. The Sand King still only has like 9 CS though, so Skylark is kind of struggling as he's getting bashed into oblivion up here. Is he dead?
Still in the same area. Burrow strike. 0, 1, and 2. Be okay now.
Tried for a strike with the arrow, but didn't quite have the timing, so will not be able to get Dubu. I'm a little bit worried about this Sand King's game. We'll see. Should be okay. There's that stack for him to go clear and whatnot later on. And he is against a double melee lane. Should just continue to get better. He's even gone for a point in the caustic.
I feel like we've been seeing more and more of that. Realizing the skill goes well beyond the value of flash farming later. Burning a lot here on the top lane. Have a salve afterwards. We get close to that 5-minute mark. On top lane, it's trouble. Skylark, time dilation. Does have a burrow strike available as they jump forward. Can't quite find the bash. Gabby will probably head back just for the
is under attack.
trying to run for that early veil. But yeah, definitely Faceless Void, Mr. Raven having a very nice time of it so far. 30 and 10, leading the way in last hits right now. And still the big story also is going to be Roya just putting it into Thug.
Yeah, and then what the Lena's going to be able to do afterwards, rotating around. Similar to some of the other builds we've seen, you know, Roya picking up a lot of small stat-heavy items.
I get him. Dubu moving in. Can he get there in time to make a little bit of space? Like they turn it in instead on the Thug, and now in trouble. Right clicks coming through. Ayoya gets the finish. Will end up dying maybe next time, but that is well worth it. On the OD first. At the same time, Cuckoo goes down bottom. Not what you want to see out of your Night Stalker on first night.
Yeah, the Wraith King is also doing fantastically in his lane. Spartan's he's got 2 points up in the Shadow Post, and I feel like he's been doing quite a lot of damage at bottom, in fact. So early game, fairly even, I would say, across the board. You know, net worth very slightly in favor of ADFINEM currently.
Not have disruption. Now, break coming in from Boo, seeing if he can get that Shadow Poison stack. Spartan will get punched one more time by Doom here. Salve's up, able to get the walk away. And there's going to be the Fire Blast to break the salve. They did kill off the Sand King up in the top lane at that same time. And now the arrow comes in, able to find themselves this ogre, fully encapsulated with the other ogres, but still be able to make the escape. And Astral to save Spartan. One more punch, but the stick charges keep him alive. They stand on that.
Yeah, I think MNT gave him a bottle sip as well, as that auto attack was flying at him. Kept him alive. Alright, that was an interesting little skirmish. Yeah, top lane, I don't know what happened. It seemed like it was just a straight up. He didn't even chrono. I think he just time locked him to death.
He didn't even use dust.
Nope.
What the hell?
This sentry is still just sitting here.
Yeah.
Skylark really needs to deal with. He didn't even bring back a sentry or anything.
Trying to beeline it straight for that veil. Yeah, it's causing some issues for him, for sure. Okay, level 7. Thug needs to be so careful here. If he gets caught by a straight light strike ray, that might be curtains. Center being used, not gonna find themselves a target. Dubu moving in position. They find Skylark. Sentry Ward drop down. Can they take it out in time? They will. But the Chronosphere comes out, able to catch, able to bash his way to death. Now another Fire Blast round. Dubu punches into. Does Raven want to show up in the fight? And maybe next time. It's like, for now.
And both offlaners have kind of been on the struggle streak, but especially Cuckoo. Cuckoo's only level 4 currently. Like you said earlier, this is not what you want to be seeing from your Night Stalker early on. They want Brioya at mid.
This could be a nice setup for him to get the kill. Arrow connects, and this time they will be able to secure the finish on Alina. Do you have raindrops or anything?
I was wondering, that would be a pretty bad look if he survived that. But
Yeah.
There you go. So they lose Rioya, they lose Cuckoo at bottom. Man, we actually have a game on our hands compared to our previous series, where it was just one team making all the right rotations, completely stomping. I guess again, it's going to come back to this concept that ADFINEM have about playing against the Void, right? Are the saves plus the Wraith King going to be the answer? Because they left it open the entire time. It definitely feels like they were sort of baiting GEEK Fam into taking it. So one of these situations where we can determine is the hero so strong that it's like normal matchups or normal counters just don't even matter.
Right. Well, and the other thing to watch for here as well is that it's not just the Wraith King, the OD you need to be careful about. Like, Mirana has a bit of a game. You know, she's just picked up Arcane Boots now. Warstaff's going to be next for her. So maybe next time is going to be definitely an issue. And that also puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the GEEK Fam supports. You've got Dubu and you've got the Coddle, both of them needing to pick up a ton of Sentry Wards to deal with that Moonlight Shadow. They're not going to be able to be the damage dealer.
Yeah, and both of the GEEK Fam supports kind of feeling like position 5s currently. He's after sitting on some gold, but definitely the Mirana is doing the best out of all 4 supports. But Skylark on the rotation here. They're giving him the bottom lane.
Tries to move the way to Spartan, seeing if he can keep eyes on him. The Shadow Poison might be able to. Cuckoo actually sticks around, and he's going to get caught by this. Now, he does have a bracer, so shouldn't go down to that. He'll be okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
Radiant's middle
But that is
tower
pretty
is under
expensive
attack.
using the Dark Ascension like that.
Disruption. Okay.
Like, Thug imprisoned him as the Wraith King stun was midair, so it was an awkward situation all around.
Bring in Spartan to try and power alive here. Raven shows up now. Has Chronosphere available. They start getting a little bit off the mark. They don't decide to go for the full committal there, but they can still keep on the area. Sentry Ward down. Madara. And they can take him down in time. Time off away. The big ultimate coming out from Coddle, catching onto all of them. They're saving this Chrono still. And it looks like that's going to be the extent of the aggression for now. Captain is dead. Try and stick around to finish off the tower, but it looks like we're just going to go back to
This is so interesting. Like, top lane's completely empty. Both carries make an appearance at mid. Like, I don't know if Raven just thought that they could go in there and kind of secure the tower for free. It's probably partially just because the Chronosphere is back off cooldown and he was hoping to find some kind of an opportunity, but it's so weird to see top lane just a minute and a half.
Zephyr to try and hold off the tower for the moment as well. It's like, it's been enough space for Skylark to get his veil. Brought it out right now. Courier. Cuckoo's still miles away from the Aghanim Scepter, but does have a bracer and phase boots.
Radiant's top tower is
12
under
minutes in,
Yeah.
1,000 gold lead. We haven't really seen that big team fight come out yet from the Chronosphere. I don't think we've only seen one Chronosphere so far, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the one that killed the Sand King after they killed the sentry. They had to just to get the vision. But yeah, the Night Stalker is a worry. Void's doing really well. Lena's about to pick up Fuels in just a little bit, so we're probably going to look for some rotations and try and find some kills. It is, I mean, it's a little bit risky to go for ganks here. The other thing to keep in mind this game is that Yules is not a very good defensive tool for him, especially against the Shadow Demon. Like, the Demonic Purge is just always going to pull you out, so
They have to be
pretty much just an offensive item.
I mean, the other thing about that too, I guess, is that even if you do Mental Light Strike, you've got a disruption afterwards to save. TP in will not be able to catch an arrow. Spartan dropping the ulti there. It's Cuckoo and then walking away.
Well, they forced some rotations,
Yeah.
but it is kind of a weird place for the two supports to be playing. They don't have any core nearby to connect with, and I think they need a little bit more damage to get some of these kills here.
It feels like that was the entire purpose of it, right? Was to pull people over that way, so that way it makes it for Dark to farm. And also pressure this tower.
And they give Cuckoo that rewards. So I think he's dead.
He's in a position now. They've already got the Sandstorm out, but vision is there. Skylark into the deck. Wow, right? Wants to find the Shadow Demon on the backside. Spartan on the wrong side of the map. And he gets caught and killed. So Geek Fam find two. The cost of the coddle.
But Madara also making stuff happen at top. Skeleton Army gonna break down this tier 1 tower. Not actually that bad of a trade. I think the Sand King, they traded position 5 for position 5. They lose the Sand King, but they gain a tier 1, so they've opened up the map quite a bit more. And Geek Fam have to be sweating a little bit, losing these tier 1s without finding any trades. They do have quite a lot of farm that they want on their lineup, especially with Nightstalker going for the tag.
This is really nice. They're setting up on Raven. They see him underneath the Sentry Ward. Do they have any follow-up now? Arrow, it's coming a little bit late, but it's going to be there in the end. And they find that Kuroku now also in trouble. Keep them want to show up to this fight, but they are going to get punished heavily. The bait for the bounties does it again. Dude, ADFINEM, these last couple of minutes here, right? You have this movement. Force out the rotation up top, and then you force the rotation mid. Well, Madara gets farmed and takes the tower. It's beautiful.
They're definitely moving better on the map. And the other cool thing, I don't know if we really talked about, was the double observer wards over here on the Tricam. I think they plant that knowing that one of them is going to get dewarded, and it's going to make Geek Fam feel safe, and they're not going to look for the other one.
take down the trees. Maybe next time, move on the Zephyr, late strike rate, they get the kill onto that Mirana. So they will not be able to find anything. But the jump around on the other side, the big old epicenter with the burst strike through. Does he go down? He will die in the end. Spartan tries to find this overkill. He's going to take him down as well. Slug moves into position. The right click comes through. A big old chronosphere though. Catches on the ultimate, but there's not enough follow-up damage to take down all these heroes. So they get 2 kills, but it's on the 2 supports. Him, not happy with that trade at all. Maybe they find themselves another. Raven's gone too far forward. He's going to get jumped on, but Thug, yeah, he can't follow that up. Cuckoo able to play intercept.
Yeah, but ADFINEM are finally going to get this this tower. Skylark is having such a good game at this point. Like he's got. I said that so much of this comes down to the play from the supports and the Sand King. Sand King had a little bit of a rough start, but they gave him the safe lane. He took out that tier 1 tower. He grabbed some extra farm, and now he's just playing fantastically. Look at this.
And the easy setup happens over and over again. Maybe next time, Skylark, dynamic duo getting kills, and Geek Fam are really struggling to come up with any answer. Like these last couple of minutes have been terrible for Geek Fam.
Yeah, and
They'll get the D ward now.
And Nightstalker's just having zero game currently. He's not doing anything. He's less farmed than the enemy team's Mirana. A lot of this comes down to the laning strength of the Wraith King. And you have to think about the Shadow Demon as well. The Nightstalker is normally naturally quite tanky, but the Soul Catcher just destroys it. And Demonic Purge is actually pretty annoying as well, just the constant slow when you're completely relying on your mobility.
And
This is actually such a good Shadow Demon game.
Relatively, 4v5 so far, with Madara kind of doing whatever he wants. When he comes into this fight, the Radiants, they're still looking at a timing. If I'm Geek Fam right now, I'm very concerned about these next couple minutes. They need to make something happen. And this is looking like where they want to make the opening happen. Arrow connects on a Coddle. They can't fight now. Coddle's gone from the engagement.
And if they successfully wait out this Dark Ascension, I think they can just go. They've got numbers up there.
Maybe next time, Identity Alliance has an arrow available. They drop down. Coddle the whole team. Skylark Dual Scepter interrupt the epicenter. Arrow coming in from the back lines. Doesn't connect on anybody. That's a big whip right there. Madara turning to try and fight now. They have Crippling Fear wearing off in just a moment. Maybe next time they're fighting the back line. Aurelia gets destroyed, dismantled, and now Shadow Demon living through all this. They find the Chronosphere. It's going to land onto their hero, but it does look like they're going to be able to back out afterwards. A buyback from Lina. Do ADFINEM want to stick around if they need to get out now? Have Crippling Fear, another round of it. Madara, but he might go down here. The follow-up is coming in just a second as you retreat. And it looks like that's going to be the end of an arrow. Turn fight, maybe? They thought about it.
So, Ryoyo bought back, but his TP scroll was on cooldown. So, he just didn't really do anything. So Spartan's giving him the tip, and it's just now he's middle on the net worth, and yeah, he did really well in lane. He did what he was supposed to in that matchup, but ADFINEM are just kind of finding him in the fights and not letting him put up a lot of damage. And Geek Fam aren't really using their ultimates to full effectiveness. Like that Sirius did nothing that fight.
Double keyboard here into trouble, and in the meantime, Spartan does go down. So I think ADFINEM, this feels like the ADFINEM of the past, where they're very much like, all right, let's just keep going and fighting, run at them constantly. And I think that they went a little bit overboard up top. Probably once you bait out that Dark Ascension, you can just back. But now with this Radiance, it feels like kind of a new opening for them. Arrow not on the mark, but connects on the two, and they catch him out again. Oh, that was glorious. Skylark, you are having such a good game.
That bounty was such a bait. Like, nobody could decide who was supposed to pick up the bounty, and then all three Geek Fam's heroes were like, okay, no, it's me who's gonna pick up the bounty. And then all of a sudden, Sand King. Oh, no. Alright, well.
Dire's bottom
Yeah, this
tower
is starting to
under
look like
attack.
ADFINEM's game at this point. The Wraith King's getting a ton of momentum, especially once he picks up, like, if he goes ACG, he can just jump on the Lina every single fight. Lina's not going to have much of a game after that point. This Night Stalker is just basically doing nothing, it feels like. He's almost got his Ags.
Well, and this is, you know, one of the issues that you see with Hero, right? Like, I think that ADFINEM win late game if they're just unimpeded, and in a way it felt like ADFINEM needed to, or GeekFam needed to like push that tempo that much quicker and be online like 10 minutes ago, but they also need their items, right? So very tough situation.
Radiant's top tower.
Yeah, I really thought, and I said it at the end of the draft, I thought that GeekFam had, like, they have a really straightforward game plan where they rally around their ultis, they rally around the Dark Ascension, they are going to play for these long cooldowns. They're just...
I mean, it's only a coddle, but like, it just goes to show that having these wards down and blow up there. One step ahead, ready to go. And this is the area right now that you have to play. That might be enough here to take down the Shadow Demon at the very least.
Yeah, doing a good job at least holding on to the Tri-Camp, but they're going to get completely out-farmed across the map just with the fact that they've only taken one tier 1 tower, they don't have any vision over in their own, in like the top side of the jungle. Okay, they've got this Night Stalker Ags now. Let's see how crazy it can be. The Chakra. Is that the turnaround point here?
I mean, that also, and then having the Will of the Wisp with it, right?
Dire's
Like,
top
you
tower
have
is under
the
attack.
combination of just keeping them forever stuck in a painful situation. Very nice. But the downside is that they've got 2 minutes where it's going to be hard to deal with after them pushing the tempo.
Yeah, and the team fights still haven't come together in the way that GeekFam want, right? Almost every chrono, the Lina's been dead already, so they're not getting that damage into the chronosphere. The chrono is often just to kill like a fairly low priority target, get rid of the Shadow Demon. It is a difficult game for the Void because, like we said, there's a lot of saves and things that he has to worry about, but that's where GeekFam's execution just needs to be that little bit up. I think they really need to make sure that they're using the Will-O-Wisp and the chrono at the same time. They can't afford to be like staggering them or just using the Will-O-Wisp to start a fight.
This is scary. Ooh, God, I don't know. Skylark isn't quite there with them here, but if he shows up again, it could be a really good fight. Nighttime in a minute and a half. Can beat them where and out. He's gonna get caught. Skylark in the back line's able to find that burrow spec. He's next on it too. Raven jumps in, wants to make something happen with the BKB out. Does he have enough here? Cuckoo getting almost 4 down. Skylark will eventually die. They keep enough separation there between the two of them. Madara gonna burn through that ulti one time. They gotta be careful here. I don't know if they can afford to go back in on this. Skylark is already gonna be controlled and killed off. They drop down the Will of Wisp. Not enough. ADFINEM have pushed too far forward. GeekFam looking to find another pickoff here. Scepter left up, another buyback. The Shadow Demon, they're gonna TP to the tier 1 tower. Yuku wants to chase it down, but it's gonna be the Dark Ascension. That's Aegis already down. This is a terrible fight so far for ADFINEM. And Skylark not able to hit onto anybody either with that epicenter. Round 2 coming in. Yeah, you've got to be careful with your ADFINEM. It is nighttime. Panic. Silence comes out. They have a blue afterward. Tons of damage out, but they drop the ulti, and that's enough to take down the Night Stalker. The turn that they needed came from Thug at the end. That Sanity's Eclipse and a 5,000 gold lead after it was looking a little bit scary.
I still think it's a pretty big win for GeekFam though. They got the Aegis, they forced 2 buybacks.
Yeah.
They got the kill on the right. That's much more like it, right? That's what I was talking about. They've got 2 people in the chrono, and then they've got the Will-O-Wisp behind it, controlling the other 2 heroes and just preventing the OD from coming in and saving anybody. Really nicely played by Raven, resetting as his BKB was ending. Like his BKB ended, he time walked away. He knew that his team had enough damage to get the first life on the Wraith King, and then he could come back in and continue the team fight. Still signs of life from GeekFam, and as we saw, the Night Stalker is actually starting to find some impact in these fights, which previously he was just a non-factor.
Yeah, I think that if he stays alive, like he needs BKB, yeah, he's immediately queued it up. Because if he can live through the OD shenanigans, this hero creates enough chaos that it's going to be a tough time for him. I guess likewise though, if you've got BKBs of your own, ADFINEM, yeah, it's a game of cat and mouse as well.
Yeah, but he will be able to the Void and the Night Stalker people have BKBs will sort of be able to walk at the OD and make his life really difficult.
Wraith King is going to go back for the Abyssal Blade afterwards. I kind of like that blink suggestion that you had, but feels like
yeah, I still kind of want the blink. I know that they do already have initiation from Same Thing, so he might just be thinking that okay, maybe that's not my job this game to also be an initiator. But I really like the idea of Madara just hunting for the Lina in every single fight. But he might not have that luxury. He might need to just be sitting on the front lines, and if he had a blink, it might be getting canceled a whole bunch.
yeah, that is a concern.
Prowling. Oh, Ryoya. Just wait for it to come to the high ground. Don't go out.
He does have a Yule's arrow afterwards, though. Oh. Okay.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to go anywhere near this.
He's playing a build where it's just like, if I get caught, I'm dead. I don't. He hasn't taken the HP talent. He's just got mass cast range, so his positioning is supremely important.
So
and they need his damage too, so
right.
He has to get his spells off.
He has to be that one that's like staying in the back, not getting killed. And like you said, it speaks to the need to get Sand King on top of him in these fights. Which Skylark's been able to do a good job of saying Gabby.
It's confusing.
Players do this. It's just
Radiant's top tower is under
Thug
attack.
showing on the map. Oh, Royo, yeah. They lift away. If he knows, he's gotta know. No, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Dyer's top tower is under attack.
Patience from ADFINEM. Yeah. Now he'll know not to go out. He was probably just thinking that like, oh, they must all be over on the other side of the map or something. Like nobody had shown top in quite some time, but they were just waiting out.
The wave though.
Yeah, at that point. Yeah.
But I guess
but at that point there wasn't really anything that he could do.
Right.
Unfortunately. Oh, they got a blink on the Night Stalker. Alright. That's nice. But OD's gonna have BKB before too long.
Yeah,
Lina dead.
Get on the OD. Oh no, they found Coddle again. They decide to go.
I always feel like Zephyr tanked that intentionally. I think he was just like that, or maybe we wasn't paying attention, but not a big deal either way. Getting caught by that arrow. They did take quite a lot of health off of this tier 3 tower though. That was a really nice pickup. A really nice pickoff for them. And Madara changing his mind again. He's also going to be going for BKB.
Dyer's bottom tower is under attack.
It's just so hard to play against Coddle without a BKB.
Hello. How you doing, buddy? Got the dust out there. First strike, but time dilation. It hurts. It hurts. So
There's a lot of defensive items for Raven. If you look at what he's building. With BKB and now he's got a pins queued up.
I guess to deal with the Shadow Demon concern here?
I think it's in part Shadow Demon. Part of it is he just doesn't want to get blink first struck by the
I guess Spartan knew that was coming. He's just like, I'm gonna disrupt myself a little harder. But yeah, the Raven is definitely a little bit more just staying alive in these fights. I guess that like can't really be a frontliner right now with Night Stalker. He doesn't have that BKB yet.
Yeah, and Night Stalker just in general, not as much of a frontline hero, and especially with this build, he's really waiting for someone else to provide the vision so that he can then go in. So I like the decision from that perspective. Raven appreciates that he's going to be the one hitting buildings, he's going to be the one in a vulnerable position where he might get jumped, and his team doesn't really have a whole lot of save. Like, they've got a Glimmer and a Force Staff on the Keeper of the Light, but that's about it. So I think this is okay. I was even thinking earlier, like, how much damage does the Void actually need to do, so long as the Lina and the Night Stalker are surviving in the fights.
I guess that's the thing too. Is he could throw the Lincoln Sphere onto Ryoya if he needs to. The last second.
Yeah. Something to look out for. Lina does have Aghanim Scepter now, so there's a lot of damage from Ryoya, and that's where the OD BKB is maybe not as safe as he would like. The BKB is not an I win necessarily for Thug. He's still gonna have to be careful with his position.
It's almost enough to one-shot the SD right now.
Roshan's going to be the next big objective. Both teams sort of settling into position in this area.
Good vision here. He can pop Dark Ascension if he needs to. They see everybody. Skylark just inside that vision there on the high ground, waiting for their opening. They have the long time walk cast range too. Adara not wanting to commit fully to Roshan. That ward again. Super valuable.
Yeah, and very difficult to ward situation. But the standoff begins. We got some skeletons that are going to push top. Looks like bottom lane is naturally pushing in favor of Geek Fam. There is always going to be the boots of travel X factor for Ryoya, so he can always go and deal with a lane if he needs to, and then be able to come back and join his team. But there's also that same factor over on Skylark's side. So a little bit of cat and mouse as Geek Fam smoked up.
Super dangerous. That's a real OD. They're thinking about dropping on it. Nope, they don't realize they're an illusion. And they will find one kill. It's on the Wraith King. Round 200 in a second. People are trying to play interrupt there on a Skylark so they can't find him. Adara pops going to retreat. They have the Chrono there. Connects onto 3. Holy moly, he oh my! The Light Striker ring comes out. They get the double kill. Burrow Strike coming through 1 and 2. Raven still finds us on another opening here. They can't do anything to him. Skylark did nothing in that fight. And now with these buybacks coming fast and furious, all these heroes are dying. Oh, Geek Fam, the turnaround in that engagement. Oh.
Thug TP to the shrine. I think he did. I can see the idea. They're like, okay, we just got first insane chrono from Raven, right? That was a sick play. And then I can totally understand where ADFINEM are coming from. They're like, okay, they just used all their big spells. Let's all buy back and go. But they didn't all arrive back at the site at the same time. And then they ended up losing a few more. And now they're not, like, they're down a couple of heroes. Losing the Sand King is the thing that hurts the most because they...
Look at the crap! Oh my god! Oh, no!
Yeah, it's still updating as well.
Yeah, so
oh, and they're not, man, they're going to get actually nothing out of these buybacks.
yeah.
The OD had 0 impact in that fight. He got chronoed, and then he got blown up by the Lina, and that was it. That was all she wrote.
Well, and the other thing too that was crazy about that, right, is that it not only was that he caught 3 of them, but he caught 3 of them close enough that Lina was able to hit like a 3-person Light Strike Ray and a 3-person Dragon Slate.
Yeah,
like,
I think she got a double stun after that, and it really should be. I want to be keeping more of an eye on the way that they're using this Chakra Magic, because I feel like we have seen some crazy like Lina stun into an immediate secondary chain stun.
Yeah,
it's super brutal.
one of the other things that Coddle just brings to the table. You talk about him not really being that big of a damage dealer, but if you have these other heroes surrounding him that are based upon spell casting, that low cooldown, he becomes a damage dealer by virtue of his helping the other heroes.
Oh, Geek fan looking for something, but like Madara's gonna get that. Geek, like ADFINEM could lose the game in the next minute just because they have no buybacks.
Oh, instant bash, poor staff, run away. Don't want any of this. Geek fam. This has been a good game so far.
Yeah, very back and forth. Raven, not Raven, Cuckoo super back into the game. They've got the gem picked up, really controlling space nicely. It's so topsy-turvy. It feels like Skylark kind of pulled ADFINEM all the way through that mid-game with some really fantastic play. He was winning all the team fights for them, but now the BKBs are coming out. Geek fam don't have to be nearly as worried, and the Sand King's impact is tapering off a little bit as the Night Stalker continues to get stronger and stronger, especially as the skills come in.
They got some people here. Night Stalker keeps it down one. They have anything to break it. He's there. He stuns himself, but he gets the kill regardless. As Skylark is going to drop. He managed to get out with one other. But meanwhile, Raven just kills off the Mirana.
All right, I'm just chrono your position for it. He doesn't have buybacks, so this is a pretty big window for Geek fam. And Ryoya can just push out bottom. He's got boosted travel in a second, so the rest of the team just needs to head over. Pretty much all the lanes except for top going to be in a good position. Fam, I think they can even threaten a little bit of high ground here, even without the Will-O-Wisp or the Chronosphere. They're still quite strong.
Feels like it. Yeah, you can see already that he's gonna move up there. Pressuring now. Back out as soon as the buyback comes. Really, really good patience being shown here by Geek fam. And this is something that, like, again, you talk about the way that healthy stage has been described by a lot of other people in their playstyle is always just run at them. It's measured aggression here, not overextending. If anything, it's been ADFINEM that have been the one in this series.
The SEA teams have gotten so much better.
Yeah.
Like I would say that the SEA scene has really matured a lot. There are a lot of skills, like the hot-headed players, right? But there are some serious orgs and some very serious teams in the space now. So I think it's a little bit unfair to have this constant idea of like, oh yeah, the SEA team, it's run at you DOTA, they're gonna tilt and they're super momentum based. That's not at all what we've seen this game, right? Geek fam have been behind, but they've stayed disciplined. They've tightened up the execution on their team fights. They waited for their important items, and they found that one big opportunity during the game just by kind of grinding it out.
Very impressive showing, and I think why a lot of people are expecting this team to be one of the contenders here at this tournament. So one of the things that I kind of wanted to touch back on that you mentioned early on as we wait for this high ground push, you mentioned that this is like Void's counters. A lot of ADFINEM has basically picked almost all of them, and they are still losing to it in the late game. How concerning to you is that about the state of Void in the current meta?
I'm not even sure what it is about Void, right? Because I don't feel like he's gotten that many huge changes recently, right? I think part of it is just maybe the rest of the carry field sort of being nerfed down a little bit. The saving supports are really not that not super popular, but yeah, it is really interesting that and I called it out in the draft, right, that this is the concept here is, can we let them have Void and then pick all of our favorite Void counters and beat it? I do think that Raven had a much easier lane than I'm not about to say that than he was supposed to, because they did just leave the Sand King in the 2v1. So I do think that ADFINEM very knowingly let this Void get a lot of farm, thinking that they had the counters, but I guess it just goes to show you that, yeah, Void's power level at the moment is pretty high, and a lot of these players feel confident enough to pick. Been playing a lot of Void. These teams are some teams are even willing to pick it super early in the draft. He might be a touch overtuned. The other thing to keep in mind is that he's got like the Bloodlust this game, also helping him out.
I mean, that's one thing though, right? If you have like one hero that's a combo with the Void right now to help him out with Ogre, and you have like what 3-4 counters against the Void.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's something.
There have definitely been times in the past where people have just said Void is like a useless hero. He doesn't flash farm fast enough. People couldn't figure out like a useful enough item build, but it just seems as though we're seeing people get away with these Midases and Midas Maelstrom.
This is dangerous. They get the chrono onto the OG. Raid King walks into it. Not great. Now the BKB comes out, but just gonna get destroyed. Madara wants to take down this Lina, and will be able to do just that. But is it going to be enough? Now the stun broken there on the Lincoln Spheres, Raven into the jump play, and the OG buys back. Meanwhile, Lupen runs away. They're out of here. Another round of quick jump in, find the kill, lose the Lina, but get the buyback.
And that's discipline again, right? Just knowing that, okay, we've used our big spells, let's just reset. They use the buyback, they can't immediately get anything out of this buyback. Let's just go and chill out for a second, wait for our cooldowns one more time, and
Coddle's
go
level
again.
25. Ah!
Yep. XP gain talent at level 10. Nice stuff. 350 cast range talent. Very nice.
Oh my god! Buybacks come fast. There is already 3 of them out. Can they get out of here now? ADFINEM want to take themselves another round. They kill that OG. No buyback. 2 minutes on the sidelines. Madara still slowed down. Cuckoo tries to get the follow-up now. They have the Shadow Amulet. Spartan not going to be able to escape though as Raven kills him off Madara. The last one standing in the area of the cores. Here's the Skylark jumps in. No, he got his blink cancelled, and now he can't throw straight because of the silence coming from Cuckoo. And now you see Madara in a hell of a lot of trouble. Needs to try and survive. This man is also going to die. Both cores dead. No buyback. Let's run it down.
Have you felt Sand King in these last couple of fights? Like, it just doesn't feel like the SK is really doing a whole lot at this point.
He really needs that BKB. Like, I think it got canceled by me.
Oh man. And I like the idea as well from ADFINEM there to kind of go in and force it somewhat, but then Thug gets sort of caught in no man's land. This Lina Aghanim Scepter has proven to be such a problem for OG. He can't stand and fight. Raven, he time walked into an arrow in the middle of all of that. It didn't matter in the slightest. He's got the Satanic as well. He's super tanky, but looking like it's gonna be multiple lanes.
Maybe next time. Throws out the arrow. Zephyr realizes, hey, there's somebody over here, guys. They will not be able to defend this set of racks. They take down the melee top, leaving the range alive as they press over to the other side. Now looking for a third. 40 seconds until OD as the arrow goes in, connects on the Coddle. No follow there. Maybe kill off the courier here. A Pyrrhic victory we've never seen one. Skylark has his BKB finally out of the sandstorm. Trying to keep these heroes under control. 5 seconds until OD is back. They buy back on this Mirana. See if they start TPing out to the shrines or what have you. But looks like they're not going to be able to find anybody. Geek fam, looking out. Bro strike too quick away. He gets out of there. They didn't find him. Raven TVs wants to find a follow skeleton. He's going to be able to maybe get one here. As the Chronosphere still available, doesn't connect on anybody at all. And now he jumped into that one. Arrow is going to connect. He's caught for a while. The force snap comes out. That's going to keep him alive. Now the chase force looking for Dooku Thug in his BKB duration. The invis is going to keep Dooku alive. And Raven jumps in, wants to find one. They find themselves the big old OD. Light Striker are going to connect onto him also. Zephyr as he runs away from maybe next time. They kill off the OD, and good game, well played, Paul.
Oh, Zephyr just four-stabbed Dubu into the arrow and killed him. Oh, that's so perfect. ADFINEM at the end there, just crumbling a little bit. Two different OD buybacks, neither one of which resulted in anything. I think that's
Five seconds remaining. Radiant team
Right.
ban.
I think it also helps to fulfill the tower damage side of the equation, right? Like that was something that
Yeah.
they could only solve the Wraith King. Now they've got Lesh to do so.
yeah, but the overall lineup is just really squishy
Yeah.
so far, and I'm always hesitant about it. Just based on where it's been picked, it feels like it might be position 3 Lesh, and I just think that can be
10
so
seconds remaining.
risky. If you're winning the game, it's gonna look great. If you're
Radiant
behind, it's not gonna look all that impressive. And wow, okay, Geek Fam willing to move the what is it with everybody in OD? Everybody's just really loving the OD life.
I mean,
at
it
the
does
moment.
stop you from just picking certain heroes, right? Like
Yeah,
that's one side of it, but it does feel a little
10
bit
seconds remaining.
being pushed earlier and earlier, and it's not winning either. I
5
don't-
seconds remaining.
would ADFINEM even have picked it is the thing, right? Like Geek Fam still have another pick
Right.
in this phase, so I don't think ADFINEM would have picked it.
They might. I mean,
But-
Thug took it last time.
Yeah, but it would have been, I think it would have been really weird with their, like, if you have the 3 heroes that they have plus an OD, what do you do if when Geek Fam pick, like, they naturally just pick Lifestealer or Pugna, or
Yeah.
like a Jug, or just heroes that don't care about these the all magical damage lineup.
And I will say that this extended time right now in the picks doesn't necessarily mean they were planning on picking OD. It's like, oh, we didn't think they were going to pick OD. What can we pick to
I don't
counter
think
it?
they were expecting the OD, so they're now thinking about what they want to do about it, like take a Bloodseeker build, just fighter. And once you get a few points and you're just running some clarities, you just head into the jungle,
Have a little humility.
spam Bloodright to farm.
Life just
Well,
got
the other thing is,
interesting.
it's not all about the lane either. Like, there's definitely
Yeah.
some good tower taking potential with like Flash. Skylark's able to have a good game, and he was the one that carried him through their initial part of it last.
I just want ADFINEM to show me why Bloodseeker is a good hero this game.
Okay.
Like the same way that I wanted them to show me like why I really wanted to understand their concept about like why is OD a good pick in the previous game, and all I could really come up with is the the arrow synergy. I think there is more than that, but I just didn't quite see it. And it's the same thing this game. I really want to understand why they picked the Bloodseeker the way that they did. Like, do they think it's good against the OD? I think that's sounds like a pretty good matchup, right? The silence is annoying. The rupture means you can't move around easily in fights.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see based on the way that he plays it. But the complete opposite approach from ADFINEM, as they're pressuring with an aggro tri-lane.
And they're gonna go on back here. Nice split earth on top of them. Even force out a salve from him early on, while the rotation comes down to the other side. TP.
Huh? Shadow didn't even TP bot. Is that what you're talking about?
Got it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
Off back. Bounce there. Cuckoo, disruption. This could be good for him, actually. Get a good bit of damage on Mr. Cuckoo.
Is Spartan dead, though?
Not before the first blood goes the other way.
That gives also GEEK fan getting first blood top. He killed Skylark.
Well,
MNT's just lurking mid. Oh, did they check the replay?
They must have.
Oh. Dubui, he knows.
Yeah.
He knows that they were gonna try and figure it out, and they just put it on the other side this time.
Pretty good. I like that.
Well, that's one step ahead. That's the next level support gameplay. This is how you know I'm a support player. I just get super excited about all the like the double ward with the one intending for one of them to get dewarded. Yeah, I love that stuff.
I mean, it's honestly makes such a huge difference. Though. It's like everybody pays attention to the kills, but it's vision that like helps.
That decides so much of the game. Oh god, he's tiny. Oh lordy. Alright, they've scanned him. They know that he's here, but is it gonna matter?
I don't think they knew quite enough about that. Hey, go. Courier snipe, one more punch. Oh, the Astro. Oh, that was almost enough. Oh, yeah, it takes one more pot shot. The poison attack.
Oh my god, that was so close. He tried to be stone cold about that fairy fire, but...
Right. Meanwhile, Madara chasing forward for Cuckoo has a lot of thirst stacks, but the juke away underneath the tower. Madara ends up going super low. Is he gonna go down? No, they still kill off the Cuckoo Batrider, but getting all that thirst up in the mid lane on the OD made the difference.
Wait, is Madara gonna die though? The tower's on him now.
God, Avalanche! Juke away, heals up.
Oh, self-destruction.
This is healing. And now Zephyr is going to go down to the arrow. Cuckoo does not quite get hit there by the silence. He doesn't have Firefly for another 8 seconds, so he can't turn onto this. But ADFINEM coming out.
Spartan God, what a play there. That was so nice.
Did he salve him himself?
I think he salved him, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was the Bloodseeker salve or the Shattered Defense.
I'd have to go back and check, but I think if it was the Bloodseekers, he would have like retreated further under the tower and just started salving then, instead of running into the tiny. So,
what do you think about this Viper build going for 202?
Oh.
Different, right?
Yeah. I guess it's more just about trying to like orb walk and fresh lane. You can see the Ryo has taken a lot of damage, so to kind of be working with Zephyr. Oh, they're gonna look for a toss. Ryo is trying to give him the target.
Away. Punch. Leap away again. Back into the clutches of Zephyr.
Welcome back.
Oh, he cancels his animation.
There you go.
Nice.
I wish that like there was more animation for like if you're really hurting as a hero, because in that way like Rana's just like panting along or whatever on the ground, and then then suddenly one punch, just like, oh, I'm dead. Just like,
That's the end.
there's no different, really. Avalanche and Madara stick charges. That's enough to keep him alive. Structure the single leg for Madara. 5 stick charges. They will eventually find 1 kill, but now maybe next time it shows up, it's a couple more punches off there, trying to live through it. Cuckoo. Oh, Madara gets him. Bloodseeker's working.
Yeah, it definitely is. And maybe next time had to give up on grabbing the second bounty rune to come back and turn that around. He was on a trajectory to grab both, but instead Zephyr's gonna. Oh, he didn't buy his bottle first. Interesting. He had enough gold. I don't know why he didn't just get the free bottle refill. Because it's not super important. Oh, whoa. Toss back.
Midst of the leak. That's going to be his death. This time goes down. And we're also seeing, like you talked about, a little bit of a different build there early on. There's no points in Blood Rage early for Madara. Going back for one of them. Taking 2 in Thirst. See if he continues to level up. Blood Rider go back to it. TP away canceled by Skylark, realizing creep wave here. Can't really do much. And contact underneath the tower. Find themselves Mr. Thug. Arrow not quite going to be on the mark. It looks like that is going to be finding a kill. Fairy Fire. Never mind. Chase away. One more punch though. That gets the job done. And now toss it on to maybe next time. Who, guess what? Only has 1 leap charge and kind of whiffs it. It looks like this.
Madara's
What is happening? Arrow connects. Alright, they find the kill regardless. Madara's like, let's go, let's party. No mana, no problem. Zephyr toss up once again. Blood Rage onto the Tiny, and E2 will fall. And 13 kills in 7 minutes. A little fast.
That is such an ADFINEM move. The like Shadow Demon rotates over, Bloodseeker TP's mid, and they have all 4 of their living heroes in mid lane. I don't even know if that worked out that well for them, just given that there was a background farm top.
Arrow not quite there. Raven will also be hurting from that one. So 7.5 minutes in, the score tied up. You can see that it is ADFINEM who's kind of inhabiting a lot of the top slots in net worth.
Yeah, they have to do this. They just have to keep buying like small items and just run at you. You can see it from what Madara's doing. He's buying a drum. Skylark is just tanking up, right? He's got a bracer and 2 crowns. Nobody can afford to be greedy on ADFINEM's side. They absolutely just have to buy a bunch of small items and just run at you. So they're playing to their strengths for sure this game.
Zephyr. He does eventually get found out there.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Try and get the TP away.
Dire's middle tower.
Let's complete that one there. Pressure on the mid being kept off by Dubu on this Coddle. It does feel like it's, at least for the moment, GEEK trying to just buy themselves a little bit of time for the next round of ridiculous aggression. Now Spartan trying to get down the ward, not able to quite find the angle of that one now. And death.
Yeah, it's very dead. So I do feel as though the clock is ticking a bit for ADFINEM. It's going to get really difficult to push later on, especially once the Batrider finds some more items. Like, he's got his boots of travel already, so he's constantly going to be out pressuring the map. They don't have a ton of great ways to catch him either, so he's going to be a big nuisance. Keeper of the Light's going to get plenty of points.
They get caught out by the travel bat. Now going to be dead. Skylark managed to find the stun, but still goes down. It was an attempt at a rep towards mid, but a little bit of just free movement, I guess you could say.
Yeah, they just didn't bring everybody at once and didn't respect GEEK Fam's control over that area of the map. And they can't afford to make mistakes like that if they're gonna win this one. Really has to be very crisp Very crisp play.
10-minute mark, Runes. Looks like it will end up being maybe 3 for 1 unless Madara can keep him off of this. And it decides to rupture Zephyr. Kind of careful here. Oh, Cuckoo! TP's away, yeah, realizing that that was not. Alright, so they still get to kill there on the thing. Now they can make that move they wanted to earlier, pressure the turret tower.
Alright, Tiny is... He's kind of struggling. We've seen some nice plays from Zephyr, but also just not the most consistent impact. Really looking like he wants to fight. Cuckoo's also in here. They're not willing to give this up so easily. Raven just gonna go park himself in front of the tower. This is a full 5-on-5 shaping up mid.
Skylar, gonna get tossed back in now. Still looking for the moment. Bloodright doesn't connect on anybody. They drop down the Will of the Wisp. Separation. Can't run through that if you're ADFINEM.
Skylark was trying to be cute. He was just sitting there trying to edict from the trees, but got found out. Very quickly dealt with. A constant sentry battle back and forth on this this hill. The observer for ADFINEM is actually just all the way over on the other side of the river. But holding onto this mid-tier 1 tower is so important for GEEK fam. You know, you hear that every single Dota cast, just talking about how important the mid-tier 1 is, but it's just such a significant. It represents so much control on the map.
Yeah, and likewise, this is the lineup that needs to get in aggressive early, as you mentioned, for ADFINEM. I do kind of wonder late game if like I don't know that much about like what's super late game nowadays. Feels like it should be different than it used to be because it gives you attack speed, which hypothetically should scale better with just like straight up damage oriented items. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and I guess I appreciate the hypothetical, but I don't even know if Bloodseeker's gonna get that farm. I look at his build, he's going drum BKB. Like this man is never going to be 6 slotted. He can feel a little bit obscene once you get to that level 25 and you get the extra movement speed. But I'm still not convinced by this hero, or at least it's not a hero that I think we're going to be seeing a ton of. I wonder if he's one that even needs to be like. I think he might need the boring passive rework treatment that like Witchcraft and all those other things got. Like maybe Thirst needs to be part of whatever. What was it?
No, I think that's what it was for
Radiant's middle tower.
Death Prophet.
I just I forgot that was even a spell
or whatever. Yeah. Well, people like Lone Druid had synergy, right? That's this boring passive that like they removed a bunch of boring passives and changed them into interesting like active abilities, and then they rolled the passives in somewhere else.
Yeah. Death or the Sadist.
Yeah, Sadist is also one of those. So maybe that's what's going to end up happening with Bloodseeker. Who knows?
Radiant are scanning.
Okay, well, 9 to 10. Bristleback after farming out that whole round of Ancient, pretty good. They going to try and get away, and there's everything happening.
But you can feel it that the momentum feels a bit dead for ADFINEM, right? Anywhere that they're like pressuring out the map or finding something, Raven's either shoving a lane on the other side, or Cuckoo's already in position to do something, and the net worth I think is just slow and steady gonna start moving in GEEK fam's favor.
If ADFINEM can try and like keep the pressure on right now, though, I don't think it's by any means like foregone conclusion that it's over. That's the thing. Is like I expected this laning phase to be way worse for the Bloodseeker. He's top net worth. Like Madara's had an amazing
That's true.
game.
Yeah, that's true. They dealt with the Batrider way better than I was expecting. I thought this Batrider was just gonna be like a free lane win, free game for GEEK fam, but not the case.
He's saving up for the blinker here now. Bot. feet away with the Lesh, who wants to go and pick up these bounty runes.
Oh,
here.
Madara. Getting dragged back into the tower.
Coddle drops it down. Arrow going to try and be the interrupt, but it's not good enough. And Skylar not able to get the rune. Really picks it up instead.
Still 3 for ADFINEM, so they at least got something out of their carry dying. Though I'm not sure if the two are necessarily connected. Being able to get all those bounties. Yeah, I was just about to talk about that. It's, that's part of the problem when you pick something like an offlane Leshrac, right? You mentioned it during the draft that they're lacking in catch, so they're trying to compensate for that with the Atos pickups. I don't know if there would have been any other item that I would have preferred. Like I don't even know if they should bother getting like a pipe or greaves or anything. I think they just need they need catch and they need BKBs, and that's what they're going for here. And that has to be their timing, just mass BKBs. Oh, Madara, they want him again.
They're gonna get him. Although no disruption coming for Spartan. That's a little bit scary now for EFAM. They gotta be super careful. Bloodlight right down on top of them. They have the disruption already used. Now chasing down the Coddle. Can they get more? The arrow, he connected forever onto this Bristleback. And now he also is going to drop his Raven. Gets pummeled down into the dirt. And now Spartan showing the strength of this hero.
Yeah, it was super good that they had the Shadow Demon TP first. That's exactly what they needed. A little bit, I guess, preemptive from GeekFam to go for that without having the lasso off cooldown. It was still like 30 seconds to go on Cuckoo. But even with that, you know, the question is like, now what do ADFINEM get out of that? Do they find some kind of a follow-up? I still just feel as though this game is going a little bit too slowly for them. Though maybe I have the wrong read and things will all of a sudden change once they pick up these BKBs. That has to be their timing. But that's also what GeekFam are preparing to fight against.
Right. I think that you would love right now if you're ADFINEM clean up at least the last of these outer tier 1 towers and preferably get tier 2 down. It does start to look a little bit more scary. KBs are online now for Madara though, and we're still a ways away from Leshes and Vipers. One of the other sort of downsides of the Thug build was that he wasn't able to head to clear out stacks or the jungle as quickly on Thug, but didn't mean that he could get more involved in killing, I guess.
Yeah. And he's still tied with the OD. It's not a particularly high farm game for anybody. Like, we haven't seen a ton of stacks and Bristleback farming ancients and stuff like that. We didn't even mention this game, the Coddle Bristle. It's not quite as strong as I think it was with the previous. Who knows? It's hard to say. It's like with the previous version, it was easier to execute because you didn't need to, like, you didn't care about when you cast the chakra on him. He was always going to get the double quills. But with this, I guess he gets more goo and it's easier for him to maintain max stacks with your help. So
yeah,
pros and cons. Definitely some strong synergy there.
Don't quite get into range there. Again, Cuckoo going for this drums bot build, going back for a hood afterwards instead of opting for the dagger. Does make it a little bit tougher to find those cards. Shadow's gonna wear off.
I'm trying to decide if I like Ryoya's builds here. He's not going for BKB. He's just, I don't know if I like the full pipe, I guess, is my concern. Like, do I like Pike more than I would like a Blink into a Hex or like a BKB? I'm just not sure. I don't know what this Pike is gonna do for him. I guess it gets him out of some AoE and stuff. Probably mostly about the Atos, but does he need the Pike for that?
For that, just gonna get dropped. Bug popping out his BKB there, and they make quick work of him. He was not well positioned. He's gonna get punished for it. So Spartan ends up going down. That could have been way better for ADFINEM had they just been able to back away with their Shadow DP. But looking for another kill, didn't work out. They won't get that pressure on the tier 2 tower. So again, a good win for them, getting the Bristleback kill, taking down Raven. But what can they get afterwards off of?
And that was a 10-second BKB as well. So need to just yeah, they really need to use the resource that the BKB presents to get quite a lot. They're not too bad at high grounding. Like I said earlier, the Blood Rage on the Leshrac is pretty scary, so they don't have to win too many fights to take a lane of racks this game, but the BKB usage is really gonna be what decides it. And okay, so now Ryoya's finished this full pike, and now he's going back to the BKB.
I mean, is that the type of thing, not having it online right now, that makes you worried about where this next couple of minutes are going to go? I mean, it's a lot of gold to try and farm up on the OD, get to that item in time. I
don't know if the BKB guarantees that he can fight, and I kind of feel the same way about the pike. Yeah.
Kill onto that Kato. And just like that, they're pressuring again at Venom. 21 minutes in, they're hitting a power spike and they know it.
Okay, so they have to be careful of like lassos and tossbacks here. Tiny's TPing in.
They don't have Blink though for the Bat Rider.
Yeah, no Blink for the Bat Rider, so it's pretty much all on Zephyr to find some kind of a tossback to stop this push. They're taking so much damage on this tower.
That's looking for it. Zephyr, double Atos, he's in trouble now. Stunned, broken, punched, pummeled, and dead. They might need a buyback here from him. ADFINEM, recognizing their time into these BKBs, they force out the buyback, take down that tier 3 tower, and now can retreat if they so desire. Can't really go on the bug here. They've still got the defense afterwards. They slow down the break on the Bristleback. Another round, 4 seconds, keeping him alive. They're going to try and take down this Bat Rider as Cuckoo is eventually going to fall. Looks like very little. They missed uphill twice there. But Madara able to clean up, work onto that Bristleback in the end while using his BKB. They don't have that much mana left on this ledge. There's no follow-up afterwards. Arrow going to connect there on OD. That should be enough to either secure the retreat or maybe go for more if they want it. But it looks like they're just going to back out now. But big win there for ADFINEM.
Yeah, taking the shrines are free now. They can just Leshrac can go and clean them up whenever he wants. They haven't even purchased the BKB just yet. So he's still going to have a 10-second up his sleeve, and it's still 9 and 8 on the Bloodseeker and the Viper respectively. And I'm watching OD in these fights, and he's just kind of floating around. It doesn't really, for all of his net worth, it just doesn't really feel like he can do all that much. He can't commit in, has to play very safe. I think Ryoya is just waiting. He's hoping that somebody else on his team can force the BKBs, and then after he waits out the BKBs, then he can go in and do some work. But there isn't really anybody to do that, is the problem.
Right.
I don't think there's any other hero that they're really going to pop BKBs for. Maybe the Will-O-Wisp, but that's about it.
Oh, here he wants some.
Yeah, but
this is a bait.
And like Ryoya is connecting, but also they have like no vision. So
yeah. Well, maybe next time he's gonna spot Zephyr here with his arrow. This is an awkward moment. I mean, yeah, he's gonna try and get out of there now, realizing it's actually ended badly.
Okay, they have BKB on Bristle. They decided that this is their timing. They're running into them, but
walk right into the Skylark, he's in the hole. It's already there. People's gone at the beginning of that one. They pull back in one though. Already dead Shadow Demon, so now no save. Raven, BKB, wearing somewhat low dogs as well as Zephyr gonna be able to find that avalanche toss combination. Atos onto the OD. This might get caught, but the stun is there, and they find the bristleback. And even though he had that BKB, still goes down. Geek fam lose 2 at the cost of a Shadow Demon. That was the smoke BKB, that was everything.
Yeah, that was... It almost looked like the OD was finally going to find an opportunity to do something, and then he just got pushed away by the Bloodright and whatnot. So, still, ADFINEM building up a little bit of a lead. Man, Geek fam were really hoping that that BKB for the Bristle was going to do more, but he just immediately got ruptured, and that was the end of his fight. I'm so surprised at how farmed this Bloodseeker, I have to say. I guess that's just the power of Bloodright.
Yeah.
These days, I suppose. He really has a really good farming tool.
He took the health talent too, so I mean obviously you get that much later than the time we do farming. Dugu trying to keep him off the tower here. Arrows barely off the mark, while simultaneously they're getting a little bit of creep cut from Cuckoo. And with that fortification, it's not going to be enough to take down this catapult. You need to go in and take this one out some other way. Get the D4 from ADFINEM. Tier 1 tower goes down. Two with the wraparound. Trying to play within their vision, but it looks like ADFINEM do not want to take it. Well, they're still sticking around. This is deadly. Spartan, I think, is dead.
They have BOTs on the Viper. He can get back here if they want to take the fight, but I think it's just, this is just a sacrificial Spartan move.
Raven sticks around for one more full spray and back. Are they going on this? They lose the Shadow Demon and this is alright, we'll just kill off Mikado regardless. They don't have anybody else in this area, but feeling like it's okay to take the fight. But Lasso is still up.
Neither team has their mid tier. Rare is now kind of coming over, but he's also telling them that his BKB's on the courier and that he doesn't want to fight until he has it. So they're kind of resetting, and ADFINEM don't really want to fight because Viper actually had both of his the BOTs and the TP scroll both on cooldown, so he couldn't get there.
Too big an abomination.
Look at this Cuckoo build. Look at the next item that he has.
Very interesting. I mean, it's a good Blade Mail game, that's for sure.
Yeah, but he doesn't have. He's not that tanky. He didn't. He took the Flame Break duration as well.
Yeah.
Passed over the 300 HP. So. I mean, it is certainly a good deterrent, and there is a lot of uncontrollable AoE from ADFINEM. Does he go like an HP item next? Is he gonna tank up more, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Because he's just hoping that he gets ruptured once and just like tries to run down the Bloodseeker. I'm not sure. Yeah, so I don't think he buys a Crimson Guard or anything here. He's just queuing up a Yule's next. The Blade Mail feels really out of place in his build for me. Like, why not just buy Lincoln's or a Lotus or something and just keep throwing it on you? They are significantly more expensive, but why not just get something that you can like keep throwing on your Bristleback or something like that? Or if you really want answers to
Drop everything on it.
Oh, they found Apollo. 5 seconds on the Lewis.
They're really doing a great job on ADFINEM. This is the thing, right? Like we talked about last game, how it felt like it wasn't an outplay necessarily. I don't think there were moments where ADFINEM were actually outplaying them, but it was. I mean, I don't want to put it all on Void, but some of it was definitely on Void.
Yeah, yeah, and it's this game. Raven just doesn't have the Viper is giving him a really hard time. Right? He's not a Bristle boss. He's really relying on his teammates stepping up and being the real carriers. ADFINEM forcing the roach, but Cuckoo's here.
They realize it. They're looking. I don't know if Mirana quite caught sight of Cuckoo right there to the side. Roach getting down super low. He's gonna walk in. He's able to snatch it away. He's making the play. Raven's caught it. He has a PKB backwards. So he's gonna be able to turn afterwards and make this fight happen. Dara, TP out. Everybody's just deciding to run, and Raven realizes, hey, we can actually fight. This thug is out of here. Then pressing forward, trying to find that kill, and we'll be able to get at least one.
not enough respect for the Batrider around the pit.
Middle tower is under attack.
Cuckoo, this guy.
Yeah, he's a jolly Dota player, that's for sure. Yeah, that went so badly for ADFINEM, and I don't think Ryoya was even there. I don't even know if he could have got there, but just ADFINEM. I think they're sick of getting dragged around the map. Like they're really sick of the Batrider shoving waves, the OD shoving waves. They just wanted to force a fight by going into the Roshan pit, but that did not work out the way that they were hoping. And once OD gets this hex, I think the game changes significantly, because at that point ADFINEM's BKBs are not nearly so valuable. You're gonna have to pop them way more proactively, and we're already starting to get down into lower charges as well. 7 on the Viper and the Bloodseeker. We still have Aegis.
World.
There you go. That's the HP item game. Now he has 2 health bars. Blade Mail value achieved.
I like it. Beautiful. Exactly what he was.
We weren't theory crafting hard enough.
I can't believe Miranda didn't just like walk over and check. I mean, obviously from bird's eye view, you can tell. Yeah. What should have been done, but that one hurt.
Yeah, because we just like walked into the pit. Like, hey, what's up, guys? I'll take this Aegis right here. Thanks.
No blame. Bottom lane, Cuckoo. Oh, they want some retribution here. Get on back over here, mister. Chase forward, he toasts down. And the arrow boots. Now, can they kill him a second time? I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. Yeah.
Like, Mail.
Have a little humility. A wise word for anybody.
I like it that people have had to step up their hero chat wheel game with the removal of like all the battle pass chat wheel.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Well, and also Dota Plus has been around long enough now that people are starting to get their rank up on the number of. Yeah,
everybody's got a decent number of levels, even on heroes that they don't necessarily play a ton of.
This is exactly what you were talking about earlier as well, the problem of ADFINEM beginning to fall off. Granted, it was looking a little bit rough there, but now GEEK Fam, after that Aegis steal, after the BKBs have started to come online, the fights have not looked as tragic for him, and GEEK Fam's next set of items is going to be that much more terrifying to fight into.
Yeah, I think OD might finally be entering the game. 33 minutes and 4 items later. I think Ryoya is online.
Guys, don't worry, we got this.
Yeah, he's in it to win.
He is pretty fast.
Yeah, he's got the Solar Crest helping him out. He's the real carry of this game. Raven's sort of the utility, go and soak up all the spells. Hopefully he's the one that, like they're hoping that he's the one that pops the Rupture and stuff as well, and then Ryoya can just go ham. So they have handed the game to Ryoya, and it's up to him to win it for them. So we're going Scotty next? Alright.
For who?
For OD.
It's kind of cool now. I think the value against like the range cores is so much better than it used to be.
Yeah, for sure.
But Viper is like not really that much about his range. Catch in the midst of the leap. 2 more of them.
Oh, that's all the mobility. He wanted to save the gem. Nice led by MN2.
Get about it.
Have they seen the? Okay, they've seen the hex. Cuckoo also has a gem. Oh, they're a little bit split on the GEEK Fam side.
The ward taken down. 1 to 6. Chase forward arrow. Not quite connect there, but they know that they're chasing. That's already out. BKB charge going to be used. Dubu trying to get away. Does manage to get the middle of the Wisdom. That catches onto 1. So the big power already used in this instance. Flash drive trying to walk through. And he will eventually get torn apart. So too will Spartan. And Thug just tries to TP away. Guys are wasting time now. Maybe next time also going to drop or go down.
Odie's online. He's here, game. He's arrived. Oh. Jesus. And yeah, Madara didn't press the, well, could not press the BKB button, so he didn't get to do anything. Look, if you just click on it, all of his spells, everything's off cooldown. He just walked up, he was blood rage, and then got hexed, hit twice, and just sanities into submission.
And that's the thing, right? Is like, BKBs are great and all, but if you got a hex on your team, I don't know how you deal with it at this stage.
Yeah, they just stalled until the hex, and that was...
Maybe like, maybe an Asana Yasha Satanic type of build or something? I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, just like super tanky.
Status resist too.
Yeah, yeah. You're still gonna get hammered though, is the thing.
Right.
This is the thing.
Fair. It's very, very strong. That talent and the natural intake that you get, or the spell amp that you get. Oh, he doesn't even have Yasha.
Invisibility.
Bart, you wanna do this? I realize he's in the area.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Boo-boo. Arrows, they're searching. Where'd he go? Oh? Oh? Oh, they got the spell life still there. And they get him.
I had to look through the combat log. The Sanity's Eclipse did 2006 damage to
Yeah, it's problematic.
yeah, that's rough.
Well, 23 to 20.
Radiant's top
Game
tower
number
is
2
under attack.
in 7,000 gold lead for Geek Fam right now. And even when you find that pick off on Kato, it doesn't really translate into anything else right now for ADFINEM.
I'm trying to think what what else do they have? The Nether Toxin Silences talent is nice, but OD still has a 9-second BKB, so got enough. I think he's got enough BKB strength to like win them another 2 or 3 fights, and that should be all that they need to close out this game.
Probably the best stuff would be like trying to bait stuff out. Have Shadow Demon there as like the defensive option.
Yeah, they have to disrupt the hex, pretty much, to win the fight. I think. They don't have any other defensive tools, right? They haven't bought it. They do have a Force Staff and a Lotus on the Mirana, so if MNT is in a good position, then they can maybe counterplay it that way.
Realize that ward is in the area, can't get the D ward in time. This Nubu's took out all of their vision. Yeah, and you know, the other thing that I've been noticing about like this way that Fam's been playing, you think about last game, right? They had that Night Stalk. Big vision advantage. This game, you've got the Bat Rider. Very similar thing, where it's like you just gain a vision advantage, so you're always taking the fights that you want.
Yeah, they've got another advantage as well because I think they took away the gems, right? Yeah. I think they have ADFINEM's gem, and there's one in the fountain as well. Couldn't go for smoke, but immediately gets broken by Kuku over here with an Octarine core. There's your HP item.
Only found one. Okay. Opening comes out though. The disruption. It will save them all for the moment. Now the rupture. BKB reaction from Dora before the hammer drops. They're able to get the disruption to save them for the moment. Tries to take him down. They're not going to be able to kill him all the time. Dora still ruptured. Turn it on. Tries to get him. The match comes out. Royer's still bringing down, but Dori's too freaking strong. Oh my God, this man is a monster. Royoya doing all the damage in the world, but not quite enough to get him out in the end. The Viper Strike connects, but already he's done his job. Still off that Bloodseeker. Double buyback coming from the Shadow Demon as well as from that Mirana. Now the Blade Mail doesn't really have that much left in the tank. He wants to chase down another arrow, touched away. Good job. They can't get up to high ground in time to bring down Kuku. Just backs away again, and being this big bulwark in front of all of them is the Bristleback. Dodges another arrow. Skylark tries to walk back in. Kuku still pushing back Skylark further with that Blade Mail working. Disruption trying to save their life. Avalanche toss comes in though, and Zephyr puts the kibosh onto that. So another team fight win coming out for Raven. Raven dropping solo and will eventually die. That is a big pickup for them. They needed something.
And not enough respect for the Viper, especially with this with the Aghanim Scepter.
Damn.
Okay, so that was... So they bought back on the 2 supports. That's not a huge loss. Just kind of a weird team fight, to be honest. You called it out, really good BKB usage from the Bloodseeker, got up in the face of the OD. Still died. OD's still really strong. But they have worn down his BKB just that little bit more, and Viper is now 25. So I think that they do kind of have an out in that sense. I wouldn't say that this is all Geek Fam. Just... They're heading into the Roshan pit as well.
I think if you can get like his damage up from Zara, right, that could be a big way to do it too. So around the blade melts out. Cuckoo trying to just make that space to get in there, sneak away Roche. But already Geek Fam trying to put themselves in position now. Play interrupt.
Everyone on Geek Fam is just tanking up. This Octarine on the bat, the OD with the Scotty, not thinking about an Octarine of his own.
Alright, spin over. Damage. Chase. 8 toes down. Don't staff away these 4 staffs. Making a difference now. Geek Fam, can they move in?
Thinking about it.
They have sanity to comes again. They jump forward. No, they don't. Zephyr goes on to 1, but I'm not sure if that's a good enough target. Spartan is just gonna walk the hell away. He's gonna give up his life, but that secures the Aegis and the cheese. Now
These 4 staff plays from Geek Fam, they're chasing on. They just smoke up. They want it.
Spartan doesn't have buyback. Oh god, he's gonna come out in second and blows up maybe next time. Look at TV's kills the others. It's enough to keep him alive. Skylar chasing, trying to find an opening. Raven and BKB doing a lot of work, but there's going to be Thug, drop down low. Is it going to be enough though? He has that silence onto the OD. 4 staff away again. Blood right, not quite going to connect there. Another round of it. Can be enough. It's not enough damage. And Madara, the only one left alive. Big win for Geek Fam.
I guess it wasn't necessarily that great, but I think they told themselves, like, the fight that happened over near the bottom room, that just went weird. Like that fight just played out in a really strange way. I think they knew that they're just stronger. The OD does so much damage at this point.
Sandy's and again, pressuring forward for this tier 3 tower. And there's not much we can do to get past Raven. He's been able to stay in front of all of them. Toss back on the Skylar disruption. Try and save a life. They have the demonic purge onto Cuckoo. Immediately takes off back to Hurricane. And Atos tossed back again. They keep him fine and dandy. Thug wants to chase, gets the silence there onto Zephyr. Another 4 staff. Saving his life. Thug wants to chase. Has another round of the silence here in a second, but he's going to get those back in. Skylark still chasing. Can they get out of it? The Hex comes through, and OD doing the work, unable to get bashed. Madara trying to stand toe-to-toe with them, but his BKB's about to run off as well. And OD doing a ton of damage. Can they bring it down? And Zephyr got through, finding themselves 1 kill, and the Astro's going to save his life. Madara doesn't have anywhere left to go. He is going to drop 4 dead, about to be 5, and this one is going to go into the tank. Geek Fam take them all down and win the series 2-0.
Yeah, that's they got the turnaround in the end there. It was a tough one. ADFINEM made them work for it, but to me the highlights of this game have to be Geek Fam's defensive play, like the 4 staff play especially, and then just the way that they would bait buybacks and then always reset. I can't think of a single buyback from ADFINEM in this entire series where it felt like, oh yeah, that was like a great buyback, super valuable, definitely the right decision. It felt like they just kept getting baited into spending buyback